This is the Old Musician's Blog, number 87. There's been a lot of hullabaloo on the internet about the EOS main launch and how that's going. And it's very interesting in itself because it brings to light this idea that there's a new form of governance emerging, and the cryptocurrencies and the technologies underlying it, by their very nature, are altering the way we govern ourselves. I think that they will alter the way we are governing ourselves. And the main way you can see this occurring is in the way and the discussions about how they govern themselves. For instance, Bitcoin originally, with its proof of work algorithm, has a certain sense, a certain sort of governance that has given rise to the sort of semi-centralized power of the miners. By the nature of itself, it's created these mining pools. And because the mining pools themselves are only there to solve the riddle of consensus, other forms of governance are now emerging. There's a lot of talk about the proof of stake, of course, and how how the proof of stake can be delegated through voting. And this is the next form of governance, so it seems, that is emerging. Out of necessity, there's a necessity for these forms of governance to emerge because they require certain aspects of themselves to work correctly in order for there to be utility in the very nature of the cryptos and the blockchains and the chains that are underneath it. And then also there is also these DAGs, directional acyclic graphs. And with the DAGs, there's a whole other form of governance, which is not based on the centralized power of stake or work, but another form in itself that requires the user of the network to validate two other transactions. Well, I think that's how IOTA works mainly, and I don't know if all DAGs work like that, because I believe that Hashgraph is also a DAG in its own way, but it has another way of voting, which is virtual voting, and then gossip about gossip, and probably everybody's heard about those things. And that's interesting because it comes to consensus through voting by knowing what it is that the voter would vote for statistically, and so its timeline is Byzantine fault tolerant. It's reached that stage. And we'll have to see all of these coins, all of these networks, all of these ways of reaching consensus all have emergent forms of governance. And it seems as though this governance will filter through from the environment that is the hash graph tangle blockchain environment and into the actual governance of humans and how they interact. Is this the case? Will this happen? Is this where the hope, though I do consider hope to be a four-letter word in many aspects, is this the possibility of this new technology that's coming in, and is this the way that it will alter so much of our way of interacting with each other? Is it because of the indelibility and the certainty of order that these technologies bring? How will they affect us sociologically? How will they affect us psychologically? How will they affect us spiritually? I think it's possible that a great many of human inventions are here in this world because they have filtered through from the interaction of higher levels of dimensional consciousness. We model these dimensions with our own inventions, and these inventions bring us closer to the higher dimensions. Consider that for a time.